The owner of this building and many other buildings around the city, for that matter, will have to pay a pretty big fine and correct thousands of violations. And the mayor says point blank he means for this action to send a message.
Every morning, I will not have hot water.
Diego Heredia says his problems and those of his neighbors, like persistent mold, bugs, and broken elevators for months on end, have been ignored for years by A&E Real Estate.
There are a couple of neighbors here that they need it because they're old, they use wheelchairs, and unfortunately they get stranded in their apartment, you know, and it's hard, and it seems like they don't really care.
He and other tenants we spoke with say they're now hopeful, with Mayor Zohran Mamdani walking in the door Friday. He announced a huge settlement requiring their landlord to correct some 4,000 violations across 14 buildings, to pay a $2.1 million fine, and to stop harassing tenants.
City government has real power to protect the millions of tenants across this city. And let today be evidence that we are not afraid to use it.
But in a statement, A&E, which has more than the 14 buildings in question here, says it's worked collaboratively with the city to resolve issues and, in fact, has solved many of the violations. The company says it has spent hundreds of millions of dollars to rehabilitate buildings like this one over the past decade. We pressed the mayor about how far he would take this crackdown of big landlords. The city has, under extreme circumstances, the ability to seize buildings or even issue arrest warrants for bad building owners. How aggressive are you guys going to get in this new administration?
The intended outcome is safety and well-being for tenants. That's what we are driven towards. And so we today are announcing a multi-million-dollar settlement with this landlord to actually rectify these violations. That is what we want to see. If a landlord cannot get to that settlement, continues to operate outside of the law, then we will hold them to account in additional ways.
Mayor Mamdani also responding to a report out of the comptroller's office that shows the city facing a $2 billion deficit this fiscal year and up to a $10 billion deficit next fiscal year. The mayor blames the previous Adams administration and says he favors a wealth tax to help the city solve this problem, and says Albany needs to send New York City its fair share as budget negotiations ramp up during the coming weeks. In Jackson Heights, Henry Rossoff, Pix 11 News.